Here's Peter showing signs of ADHD.
Peter, why are we stopped?
Yeah, I'll have 3 cheeseburgers.
Peter, for God's sake, she's having a baby.
Oh, that's right. And a kid's meal.
And here's Peter being a complete psychopath.
Peter, it was really close to my eye.
Relax, Joe. I'm nowhere near your eye. Hey, Joe, open your eye. Gotcha.
Clearly, Peter Griffin is hardly the most mentally stable person in Quahog, and if you're like me, you must have wondered what a psychologist might actually say about him. Now, disclaimer here, I am by no means a professionally trained licensed psychologist, obviously, but I can read. And using various amounts of psychology sources that I've found across the interwebs, we're gonna go through 6 different conditions that Peter often displays symptoms of, counting just how often he shows them and how a psychologist could possibly treat them. So let's begin where all of his problems started, his childhood. Therapists often say that to better understand who someone is and why they are the way they are, 95% of the puzzle pieces come from their childhood. And in Peter's case, it's no different. Right off the bat, he wasn't really born into a loving family. I mean, his mom tried to get him aborted.
Went to Mexico to terminate my pregnancy. But God had other plans, and you were born right there.
You didn't treat him much better after he was brought into the world either.
My mother used to use whiskey whenever I had a toothache. My tooth hurts.
As for his dad, well, he was super distant, often using work as an excuse not to show up for Peter when he needed him most.
And now the winners of the father-son three-legged race. Bobby Hamill and his dad. Jimmy Lawson and his dad. Peter Griffin and a stalk of corn.
Not that a 3-legged race is an important moment, but it's good, natural bonding time between a dad and his son. But his dad is quite famously horrible to him. Like, what about the time Francis took over Peter's work and fired him?
I'm a damn good father, and that's more than anyone can say about you.
Peter, you've never spoken to me like that. You're fired.
By the way, as a little aside, after his dad's outburst, Peter obviously loses his job, loses his purpose, and slumps into a deep depression.
I think it's time someone sits his kerfluffin' down.
If Peter needs to talk, he best go to confession and beg forgiveness for all his failings.
But we can save the rest of that for when we come to his adult years. We're just talking about him being a kid for now. And even as a kid, Peter's no stranger to being depressed. I mean, the guy was bullied pretty relentlessly in school.
My book report is on the giving tree. Nerd! Randy!
When I say relentlessly, boy, do I mean it.
Nerd! Randy! Nerd! Randy!
And when Randy wasn't the guy being mean to Peter, he also had to deal with his teachers bullying him.
Why did all the dinosaurs die out?
Because you touch yourself at night.
Combined with the bullying, Peter was a pretty lonely kid. He didn't really have any friends. Well, any that are human.
Look, my first bike. Boy, I had so much fun playing with that. More tea, Mr. Bike?
Now, some of you might be thinking that, wait a sec, Peter has a sister, so why didn't he play with her when they were kids? Well, you really want to play with someone who does this to you?
Oh my God, she's doing the toxic shock!
This is when they're adults, too. Like, imagine what she was like when they were younger. I know my boy Peter was getting treated as a punching bag on the daily.
I'm afraid the fever has affected his motor skills.
Looks like he's gonna have to repeat the 4th grade.
Looks like he's going to have to repeat the 4th grade.
Another thing you'll quite quickly notice a lot about older Peter is that he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And that was pretty obvious from a younger age, too. It all started to go mentally downhill for Peter after he had a fever as a young kid.
You've passed the 4th grade, Mr. Griffin.
Oh, great. Listen, I gotta leave, though. I'm going hunting with my son.
You know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, try again. You can add another 1,000 tries to that for Peter. It only took Peter like 30 years, but he finally manages to pass the 4th grade. Not bad. Okay, it's pretty bad, but it's hardly surprising that Peter would have suffered with the smarts early on, and with that, I think that's most of his early childhood covered. So now it's time to take a look at his teenage years.
You've changed, Joe. Like I did when I went through puberty. Feel like playing some baseball. Excuse me, I'm gonna go.
Teenage years are usually the trickiest for most people. They're awkward, full of changes like the one we just saw, and no one's particularly proud of their teenage self. Peter had it good back in the day. After all, he met Lois when he was a teenager, and meeting Carter for the first time gave him a big bout of anxiety.
You aren't nervous about meeting Daddy, are you?
Oh, you'll know when I'm nervous.
Lois?
Lois, take the rap for this. I only get one chance to make a first impression.
And meeting your future wife's folks is pretty scary stuff, but sadly Pete's had this nervous disposition for years. Heck, even when he was back in school he had it, and it was arguably worse.
Phoebe?
Yeah?
I was wondering if you'd do me the honor of,
To be fair to him, he's done a pretty good job of keeping that tic under control in his later years. Not every condition he's potentially dealing with is as easily fixed, though, and as we move into Peter's adult years, you'll see exactly what I mean. I mentioned earlier that you guys might notice that one of Peter's most obvious conditions in his adult life are his learning difficulties. Without being rude about it, he's pretty dumb. I mean, have you ever seen Peter try to understand anything remotely intellectual? Like the time he picked up a copy of The New Yorker?
The New Yorker. I'd be more apathetic if I weren't so lethargic.
In fairness to Peter, again, those are some pretty big words. But let's see if he gets the joke.
Oh, I get it. That's kind of funny.
He got there in the end. That's all that matters. As we saw earlier, his stunted brain development's linked directly back to his childhood because now that I think about it, he couldn't even go potty by himself until he was in his 30s.
I remember when I learned to use a potty all by myself. I was so proud. Hey, Lois, I did it!
He's clearly had learning difficulties his whole life, and that's led him to do a lot of dangerously stupid things as an adult. Like the time he was out hunting with the guys and randomly shot Quagmire to prove his gun was on safety.
Here, see Quagmire? Now this is a gun without a safety. Quite the difference, huh?
Then you got the time he turned the stairs in his house into a slip and slide, nearly breaking his neck.
I usually hang out with an idiot.
Brian, check it out! Yeah!
And I can't forget when he voluntarily climbed up onto his roof in a shopping cart and asked the guys to push him off. Oh yeah, and he actually broke his neck.
Okay, go! Ow. Ow.
It's not surprising, but we do actually have some sort of medical confirmation of his learning difficulties thanks to the episode Petarded. In that one, Peter answers a Trivial Pursuit question right, and he thinks he's a genius. So he sends off for some sort of IQ test, and it's not exactly pretty reading for him.
Well, here they are, Brian, my test results.
Peter, according to this, you're not a genius. In fact, you're mentally retarded.
And maybe he got the questions mixed up, or the exam didn't mark his paper right. Or, who am I kidding?
Well, would a mentally retarded guy have hired a bulldozer with a drunk driver?
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Congratulations!
Peter goes and has his results verified at the Rhode Island Mental Health Office, and not that we needed confirmation, but, you know, he's a certified member of the Learning Difficulties Club.
So, as you can see, you are just over the line.
Don't you mean just under the line?
The day I'm corrected by a I'm sorry. Just please trust the analysis.
I know Peter's bad, but he's not that bad. For the rest of this episode, he does start playing up to his diagnosis, like nobody acts like this in a restaurant.
Well, you did order the soup.
Oh, like something could happen. Get me out! Get me out! These water wings didn't help at all!
To make matters worse, Peter gets behind the wheel of his car and stupidly closes his eyes while driving, so he doesn't see the oncoming Tom Tucker that he just smashes into.
Peter, look out!
Holy crap!
Mr. Tucker, are you all right?
Do I look like I'm all right? My back is broken and my leg is twisted.
But as Peter's diagnosis is spread across town, Tom knows that he's dealing with someone that's mentally handicapped, so he just lets it slide, even though his back is broken, like he said.
You're Peter Griffin, the retarded fellow.
Yeah?
Oh, well, then don't worry about it.
Oh my god! I could get away with anything!
So you know the whole playing up to it? Yeah, you can multiply that by 1,000 now.
Sorry, retarded.
Oh, that's okay then.
Jeez, didn't you hear me a second ago?
You're just curious. Well, let me show you how everything works down there.
Peter goes on a rampage pretending to be worse off than he actually is, to the point that he puts Lois in the hospital and nearly loses custody of his kids, but does he learn his lesson? Nah.
Because there's nothing wrong with being mentally challenged. I've learned that we are superior people. Someday you will beg us for mercy.
It's actually impressive how stupid Peter is at times. Like, sure, he was smart enough to know that playing up to his diagnosis would let him get away with stuff, but he was still too stupid to look beyond all that and realize he was putting himself and his family into some serious danger. So we know he's stupid, but he's been a sad boy through some of his life, so now I'd like to take a look at Peter's battle with depression. Now, this may be a quicker entry than most, mainly as there's usually a direct correlation between being smart and being depressed, and as Peter's normally busy being stupid, he doesn't really have a lot of time to be down in the dumps. But like everyone, he does have his down days. Like when he realized he was getting old in the episode Bill and Peter's Bogus Adventure. So to prove that he still has it, Peter thinks it'll be a good idea to try and lift Bill Clinton's car after the former president's car breaks down.
Lift with your lower back in a jerking, twisting motion. Call an ambulance!
That genius move put him in the hospital and got him a visit from Clinton himself. Peter starts to come to terms with the idea of his aging, but he's pretty down in the dumps about it.
Say, you look like you're pretty down, Peter.
I'm starting to realize I'm not as young as I used to be.
Then you got the time Quagmire and Joe decided Peter was a bad friend and kicked him out of the friend group. Heck, his own Shadow didn't even want to know him.
Well, looks like it's just you and me, Shadow.
Or what about the time Peter lost his job and fell into a pretty dark hole, doubling in size and losing all purpose in life?
I know you're upset about losing your job, but you've been sitting on that couch for 2 weeks.
He's right. It's actually been more like, 13 days.
And then, understandably, there's the time Peter was pretty down when he was told that his mom died.
Peter, it's true. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god. I don't believe it. She's gone?
Remember, she might have been mean to him in the past, but to him, Thelma was that woman who cooked him his favorite cookies on Christmas morning for the longest time, along with Mr. Bike. His mom was his safe person, so it makes total sense that he'd be crushed. So we got depression covered. Now I think it's time we take a look at sadness's best friend, anxiety. Pete's a pretty anxious guy. We saw what he was like meeting Carter a while back, but that's not the only time he's been nervous about meeting someone, like when Mr. Weed comes around for dinner and Peter starts completely freaking out.
I hope that thing doesn't happen where I get nervous and I can't control the volume of my voice.
How are you?
Fine! Please come in.
Or when he has a full-blown panic attack after he hears the Pawtucket Brewery are letting some of the staff go and he might be next.
I'm sorry, I keep messing up. You're seeing me at my worst. I'm very nervous. My life is flashing before my eyes. And for some reason, it's all just the sort of gay moments.
For me, though, Peter's most famous example of his anxiety is when Lois finds a lump in his breast in the middle of the night.
Oh my God, I found a lump.
Ah!
The important thing is to stay calm.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. You get to keep both your cans.
Peter, don't talk like that.
So they decide to head on over to see Dr. Hartman to try and cool Peter's nervous jets, but that's hardly going to do anything.
Give it to me straight, Doc. How long do I have?
Mr. Griffin, I'd say you have about a month, but hey, what the hell do I know? I've been sued by every patient I ever had. Look at the size of this file.
See what I mean? Hartman scares Peter half to death and then tells him to just wait for the test results. Well, Peter can't wait. He's already planning his own funeral.
Won't pay a cent over $60.
Costs $1,000.
Okay, $70.
What?
$2,000.
That's twice what it costs.
They even put on a yard sale to sell Peter's belongings because he won't be needing them where he's going.
Peter, what's going on?
I'm selling all my worldly goods so you'll have some cash when I'm dead.
It's test results time now, and I wonder what they're going to say. Is he going to be dead in a week, a month, tomorrow?
Mr. Griffin, all your tests came back negative. As it turns out, the lump on your chest was just a fatty corpuscle.
You made Peter go through all that. All that. Just to tell him he'll be okay. Hartman should know him better, too. Peter will 100% have had at least medical notes on his file saying he's of a nervous disposition. Then again, it is silly of me to assume Hartman reads those notes. I guess you could forgive Hartman for not picking up on the anxiety thing, but there's one mental disorder that no one can miss when it comes to Peter Griffin: his ADHD. And if you're thinking he might not have it, well, here's what it's like having a conversation with him.
Like Special K, the cereal. Hey, what do they do with the regular K? If you said mallard and you had a cold, it would sound like ballad.
Do you even listen to yourself when you talk?
I drift in and out.
That's a classic example of mind wandering if I've ever seen it. It's when in mid-conversation someone's attention starts to drift and they lose focus on what they're even talking about. I guess thinking while talking is technically multitasking, and if you didn't know, Peter sucks at multitasking.
You can't even walk and chew gum at the same time.
Peter, come on, walk over here.
I'm doing something. One thing at a time.
Then you gotta cover the impulse side of things, and boy is Peter impulsive.
You know what? I'm just gonna get my own food. No freaking way. The fryer later.
I mean, the worst example of Peter's impulsivity for me, if launching a burning hot fryer at your wife isn't bad enough, is the time he ate 30 burgers in one sitting and did this to himself.
Come to think of it, I can't really feel anything on the left half of my body.
Peter, are you winking at me?
He ate like 30 burgers in one sitting, gave himself a stroke. Now, if that's not being impulsive, I don't know what is. Now, we've not really spoken much about the hyperactivity part of the condition, but seeing as Peter is a heavy-set, middle-aged man, him and active in any sense don't mix well. However, did you know that people with ADHD have a stronger liking for energy drinks due to the fact they're more sensitive to caffeine? Energy drinks like, oh, I don't know, Red Bull?
Hey, what's up, party people? Ah, boring! Holy smoke, it's crowded in here.
Hey!
This is actually Peter's first time trying the stuff, and to say that he likes it is an understatement.
Done!
He actually drinks so much of the stuff that he nearly turns into the Flash. I mean, take a look at this.
Peter, where'd you get that cow?
Bought it so we can have fresh milk every day.
Or Hammy from Over the Hedge. Does anyone remember Over the Hedge? Also, you know, we just talked about Peter and his impulsivity. Well, when Lois bans Red Bull in the Griffin household, he has no choice but to try and make some himself.
Peter, that drink will kill you. Brian, whatever kills me makes me stronger. See, Brian? I feel great.
There's nothing that screams yummy energy drink like losing function of major organs. It might be worth mentioning that some people with ADHD are more likely to develop an addiction throughout their life. I'd argue Peter was pretty addicted to Red Bull right there, and it isn't even the first time we've seen him battle an addiction. He's had some harmless ones, like the time he was addicted to wearing a foam cowboy hat.
Peter, you've been wearing that giant foam cowboy hat for 8 months now.
Hey, I can take this hat off anytime I want. I just don't want to.
But he's had some pretty bad ones too, like the time he picked up smoking and it turned him into this shriveled mess.
Oh my God! How did this happen?
It's from smoking.
It's not that bad.
I'm taking you to Dr. Hartman.
Obviously, the biggest addiction Peter's had throughout his life is drinking. That boy loves to drink. So much so that one time he tried drinking a 600-gallon container of beer.
He's doing it! It's killing him, but he's doing it!
Oh, man! I know he's addicted, but I didn't think it was that bad. Maybe it's a good thing he's turning to therapy. With the ADHD side of things covered, I think it's time we took a look at the times Peter showed he may be on the autistic spectrum. People with autism are usually super sensitive to new tastes and textures. They usually have a routine, and they like what they like. So when Lois tells Peter that she's got something new for him to try at dinner, you'd understand why he'd maybe not like it.
Peter. Eat your food, mister. Peter!
Another thing people with autism struggle with is social interactions, and when Peter hears an ice cream truck, he's not super confident in going up for a frozen treat.
Ice cream truck!
You didn't get any ice cream?
The ice cream man was handsome. I got nervous.
Speaking of social situations, people on the spectrum can also get easily overwhelmed by people, bright lights, and new surroundings, which is exactly what a grocery store is. A place filled with strange people and bright lights. So when Peter loses Lois, he becomes completely overwhelmed and overstimulated.
Are you okay?
I came in with my wife and now I can't find her.
Then you got the big imagination that's usually something that autistic people get lost in. It's almost like a coping mechanism. We saw earlier that he's a little nervous around Carter. Well, after there's a big problem with Brian, Peter uses his imagination to try and fix a problem with Carter, and it goes about as well as you'd expect.
I am gonna go back in time and stop Brian from getting it on with your dog. Okay.
But maybe the biggest piece of evidence for Peter potentially being on the spectrum is from the season 7 episode I Dream of Jesus, when he hears a song he really likes.
My God, this is Surfing Bird by the Trashmen. This is my favorite song of all time. Bird, bird, bird. But bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word.
Now, usually, if you like a song, you put it in a playlist to listen to it a few times while mixing it with other songs, but not Peter. He has to buy the physical record and play it out loud so everyone hears.
Will you give that song a rest? You've been playing it ever since we got home.
It's non-stop Bird is the word in the Griffin household, to the point Peter's trying to get people to say trigger words so he can play his silly song.
Oh, have you not heard? It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what? Brian, don't!
But bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. But bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird.
This is an example of stimming. Basically, when someone with autism stims, it's essentially them trying to manage an overwhelming amount of happy emotions. So when Peter hears the song he likes, he jumps up into the goofy surfing bird dance, and that's his way of saying, oh yeah, I'm happy, deal with it. Same goes for vocal stimming. Constantly saying the bird is the word, for example, is another version of controlling happy emotions. I know people say everyone's on the spectrum, but regardless if that's true or not, I'd certainly say Peter Griffin definitely was. Now, a lot of stuff we've covered so far is harmless, but sadly, not all innocent. Because in his adult years, Peter's been showing some pretty worrying signs that he might be a psychopath. Now, psychopathy is a very vastly misunderstood thing. We have Hollywood to thank for that. But I'm going to do my best to show you actual psychopathic traits in Peter Griffin. Starting with the time he spent his entire family's savings on lottery tickets, forcing them to meticulously check each and every one before telling them this.
Well, that's it. 3 days wasted looking through 200,000 lottery tickets.
That was a test. These are the lottery tickets.
Is this another test?
Yes. These are the real lottery tickets.
If Brian didn't say anything, he would have made them waste another 3 days checking another load of fake tickets. They do end up winning the lottery in that episode, and while they waste it, Peter already has enough money rolling around in his bank account to make some seriously big purchases, all of which he uses to terrorize Quahog, like his forklift truck that he uses to help a beached whale. What? Killing a defenseless animal just to be a hero? Well, Peter doesn't think, or rather, he only thinks about himself. Another big part of a psychopath's psyche. Like, look at the time he bought a whole tank and started destroying Spooner Street.
Are you out of your mind?
Let me show you how the gun works. What the hell? Oh, no, no!
It just look at what he did to Connie.
You see that fire extinguisher there?
I know some of you might say bullies deserve to be taught a lesson, but dang, Peter almost killed her. Just like he killed Quagmire's cat.
Oh my God!
Peter, you killed it. He's got 8 more lives. Okay, 7 more lives. 6.
Peter, stop doing what you're doing.
The fact that he killed the cat isn't what makes him a psychopath. He didn't care that he killed the cat. This is by far way worse than what he did with the whale, all right? The fact he murders James and continues to slice into his lifeless body is something that the most sick-minded of killers do. And I'd just like to say, all right, not all psychopaths are killers. Just because someone checks some boxes in the psychopathic checklist does not make them have murderous tendencies. And this is from studying psychopaths over the past 2 days. So again, I'm no expert, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but if Joe hadn't told him to stop, he'd still be there hacking away at James's body, not a care in the world. Dude takes his body to the woods to bury it without Quagmire knowing, but first he raids his friend's fridge.
You know, Peter, it's sort of adding insult to injury raiding Quagmire's fridge.
Or is it? Is my response.
It's kind of unbelievable he'd even think about doing something like that, but then again, this is Peter Griffin, the guy who beat up a toddler to steal a jet ski.
You gotta steal that kid's jet ski.
Peter, the boat's right there. We'll totally make it. Peter, we're now literally standing on the boat.
And the guy who shot 3 kids from the band Hanson who he thought were children of the corn.
Hi, can we use your phone?
Holy crap, it's a Children of the Corn!
What's worse is, he also shot his own daughter.
Hi, Dad.
The fact that this man is licensed to carry a firearm is absolutely crazy. Half of Quahog's gun deaths must be thanks to Peter. He's got one hell of an itchy trigger finger. Talking to licenses, though, there's another license I still can't believe he got. The driving one. I showed you guys his drunk driving a little earlier, but here he is mowing down people during a fracking marathon.
I'm Bob Costas, here with Boston Marathon winner Peter Griffin.
I think it's actually worse that he wasn't drunk for this one. The fact that he was doing it purely to win, it shows how little he values other humans' lives. Honestly, there's 1,000,001 different examples I could have pulled to show you Peter's worrying behavior, which is pretty damning itself.